the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square will celebrate the 5,000th episode of its signature program, Music and the Spoken Word. Music and the Spoken Word has aired daily since July 15th, 1929, and is enjoyed by more than 6 million people in more than 50 countries around the world on radio, television, and online streaming. Music and the Spoken Word, as I said, began in 1929, shortly before the Great Depression, and has aired each week since for nearly a century, including during the duration of World War II, following 9/11, and throughout the entirety of the COVID pandemic. Music and the Spoken Word is the choir's gift to the world, and we welcome you here as we celebrate. So thank you for coming. Now I open it up to questions. So who would like to go first? Yeah. So Brian.
We're doing this style.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to just open up to all three of you, probably. But Brian Carlson with KSL, my question is, how big does this moment feel for you?
This is a big moment. 5,000 consecutive weeks. That's a big number. And I think just in its proportion, it can be celebrated. However, when we get into the significance of this, how over literally decade after decade, through whatever the condition of the world, there was this sense of constant value that's been provided in a very unique recipe. Music and the Spoken Word isn't just the name of the program. It's a recipe. It's music which softens hearts and appeals to people in a very unique way. And then there's the spoken word. It's words. And what has made this so sustainable, when one asks the question, how does something continue for 5,000 weeks, 96 years? It's because it produces unique feelings in every listener. It meets people where they are. If they're feeling a sense of need, whether it's for peace or for healing, it can provide that. That recipe provides it. If they're feeling a sense of celebration, it adds to it. It's sustainable and has been able to endure that long because of that unique quality. So yes, it is a big deal, and I'm delighted that we're going to be able to celebrate it in a big way.
Great. Next. Or do you want to have Derek answer it? You want to take that?
Certainly.
Okay.
The idea of the significance of this moment has been growing on me personally over the last several weeks as we have received hundreds and hundreds, now numbering 1,200, emails of stories and experiences, testimonials, if you will, from people around the globe who have shared the impact that music and the spoken word has made on them. That goes all the way from one who wrote in and said, I remember the first ever broadcast of music and the spoken word. I was a little girl, age 5, in Chino, California, and my aunt sat me down with my sisters and said, something special is about to happen. And then she added, and I still watch today. All the way from listeners from Japan to Australia, to one who was stationed on the South Pole in Antarctica, to one who was summiting Mount Everest as he listened to music and the spoken word. And I have had opportunity, and many of our team has, to read every single one of these experiences. And when you read them, they read as a book, detailing out, again, the impact that this program has made the world over, beginning on July 15th, 1929, coming through to today, this weekend, July 13th, 2025, and certainly on into the future.
All right, Mac.
Thank you for the question. 5,000 broadcasts is significant, but I think of it in terms of years. We're now beginning, this weekend, is it the 96th or 97th year of broadcasting of this program? And when you put it in that context. As you well know, that's almost unheard of in the broadcasting world. And so to be not only celebrating the 5,000th broadcast, but these many, many years, and to be a part of that, it's a great privilege and an honor to be able to celebrate this weekend, knowing that we stand on the shoulders of thousands who have come before us.
All right, Sarah from ABC.
Hi, this is a question to any or all of you. 5,000 broadcasts, many, many years, you say. Can you tell us what, if anything, has changed about the program over time? And do you plan changes for the future?
Well, as President Levitt has already said, there is a certain recipe for this, and so we don't want to reinvent the recipe. But of course, we're always trying to do things better. And just in the past 4 years, I think that we've made some really great progress into making the program be as compelling and as appealing as possible to as many people as we possibly can. Many years ago, President Gordon B. Hinckley, who was at that time the president of the church, said, "We want the choir to be one of the greatest in the land, but always remember to sing for people." He said, what is the use of having a great choir if no one wants to listen to it? So that is always in the back of my mind from week to week, about how we can continue to engage people in a world. We live in a world where most everyone, including myself at times, has a short attention span. And so to be able to do something that, again, we've been doing for many, many years and continue to make it be something that people can engage in is a challenge, but it's a great challenge. And as I said, I'm now, someone told me, I don't keep track, but someone told me I've now done over 1,600 broadcasts, and I have to say that it never gets old from week to week. When I program several weeks in advance, I'm always excited about what's coming, and then of course being able to, not only planning it, but then being able to execute it several weeks later. It's a great joy, and again, a blessing to be involved.
I'll add to that. We want to expand the audience of music and spoken word. We'd like to be geographically heard in more countries. Now, using internet, it's available literally around the world. We have broadcast relationships in over 50 countries. We'll have typically 6 million or more listeners. That's a lot of people, but the world's a big place, and there's a lot more who need the peace, the unity, and the sense of healing that's available. It's something the world needs more of, and we need to find ways in which we can expand its availability, and that'll include working through language issues, time zone components, technology issues. All of those things present opportunities for us. As you may know, we have recently been providing music in the spoken word in Spanish. We experimented with Portuguese. We think French is on the horizon. There are just a lot of ways. I think Derek may want to comment a bit on our ability to do, as Mac has said, to use that formula, that recipe of music and spoken word to reach people in every generation and among different cohorts of audience. Derek?
Sure. Just 2 weeks ago, we released Music in the Spoken Word via podcast now, where people are able to listen to it in that format. And additionally, it also has behind-the-scenes interviews where we're trying to open up and show people all of the work that it takes every single week from an army of volunteers to put this forward. Some of our very first interviewees were both of these gentlemen on either side of me, President Levitt and Mac Wilberg. And we hope to be able to express in that regard. We also have a new website, musicandthespokenword.com, where people can sign up to receive the spoken word delivered to their inbox on Mondays. There's a library of the spoken words going back historically, both in video and audio format. And then, as President Levitt has said, while we're very pleased to be in 50 countries around the world already, we think that there is much opportunity to continue to expand and to leverage the use of technology in doing so.
May I also add that I think that our predecessors would be completely amazed at the scope of the program now. Even when I became involved in the program in 1999, it was mainly a program that went to the Intermountain West. And now we're millions on a weekly basis hear this program. And it's really, as I said, amazing. And the people before us, those who came before us, I think they wouldn't even be able to comprehend what's happening now.
Thank you. Okay, Lester, who have you got? KUTV.
Hello, Leslie Duarte with KUTV 2 News. I have a few questions for you guys. We're hoping to know, this is a huge milestone that you are accomplishing, a great part of your success. Why do you think people keep coming back every week to watch the show?
I spoke to that earlier. I do think what is unique is that it produces in people feelings that are unique to them and unique to what they are facing in their life. I have the privilege of being at the Tabernacle or the Conference Center each week, and we often will say, or always will ask, how many people are here for the first time? Most of the hands will go up. How many of you are here from somewhere outside the United States? Most of the hands will go up often. That's a signal of, first of all, the reputation of the program and its endurance. And then I will ask them, how did you feel about the program? And there is a uniform reaction, and they will search for the words. And then they'll do something that, to me, answers the question. They'll put their hands on their chest and just signify, I felt something. What they're feeling is a sense of, is very individualized. And it is conveyed, if they are feeling a sense of sadness, it gives them joy. This is unique to music and the spoken word. If they're feeling a sense of celebration, it gives them a reinforcement of that. If they're in need of healing, it opens them up to that. So I think it endures because it produces very individual responses that are tailored to what the person is feeling inside. It does connect them to the divine in them, and they respond to it. We all do.
I might add that the purpose of the program is not firstly or primarily to entertain. And all of us as human beings are in need of entertainment. But the purpose and the primary purpose of this program is to help people be filled, to be renewed, to be able to experience these feelings that President Levitt is talking about. And I believe when you ask what is it that has allowed for this to endure for so long, is because the primary purpose is not to entertain. If it was, there's so much competition out there that you have to compete with. But when our primary purpose is to help someone be filled and renewed, that is something that we can do, and that because of the recipe that Mac talked about, the choir, the orchestra, the bells, the sacrifice and service component behind it, people offering and doing this of their own time and as an offering, allows for that feeling to come about and to be something very different than what you may find in nearly every other avenue of media.
An interesting component to this is that clearly if you're in the hall, inescapable to feel what we've described. I was staying at a small country inn in Scotland a couple of years ago, and somehow in a conversation with the innkeeper, my association with the Tabernacle Choir and music and the spoken word came up. He said, I never miss a week. He has sought this out for years. He's in no way affiliated with the sponsoring church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but he saw it or feels it and seeks it out as a reinforcement to him. And he gets it electronically. So the point is, this is not just about the brilliance of the performance and the remarkable experience that happens on Sunday mornings. It is conveyable. And that's the opportunity that I think we have in the future, is to use the technologies to be a factor in spreading a sense of peace and healing around the world. There are far too few of those right now, and the world needs it.
Okay, next. Brandon from BYU, Idaho.
What encouragement are you receiving from the leadership of the church?
Well, I'll just say we have had, not just currently, but for 96 years, the church has been the sponsoring organization of this program and the choir. And it is, as Derek suggested, their gift to the world. And they deserve enormous thanks on all of our part for their willingness to make that gift on a repeated and ongoing basis. When there were depressions, music and the spoken word was still there. When there were world wars, music and the spoken word still there. When there were conflicts and the world was in commotion, music and the spoken word still there. That will be true for another 5,000 episodes, and it has a place in the world that is profoundly important.
Okay, Holly.
Hi, Holly Wallace from LDS Daily. I was wondering, was there a moment as you've been preparing for the 5,000th episode that something surprised you or was especially touching or just kind of reaffirmed for you why, what you're doing is important?
Absolutely, and it's happened again and again and again, and it's come through these stories from people who are sharing with us parts of their lives, parts that maybe they wouldn't normally go out and share, but they're saying, I was sitting in my kitchen, and it was the 1 year mark since the passing of my husband, and he had this favorite song, and music and the spoken word came on, and you know what was on that morning was that favorite song, and it filled me with this hope that I can do it. And a moment for me yesterday even was rehearsing a story that we're going to tell during the broadcast of a young boy and his family, one of the 1,200 that have written in and shared this with us. And I sat on that stage and I was listening to the music and I was watching the pictures of this family. And it hit me inside and I felt it saying, this is what it's all about recognizing the hand of God in our lives and that there is hope in the future, that we can take confidence in who we are and what we're doing and how we're going about it, and that we have a duty to tell those stories to the world and to remind all of us that this is a beautiful place and that we have the opportunity to build communities and to strengthen one another and to continue to carry that mission forward. And it's been so rewarding again because of the viewers and the listeners. And I might say that the majority of this broadcast on Sunday, as well as the pre-show and the post-show, has come about because of those who wrote in and shared with us their favorite songs and the stories behind them and experiences that they had had with Richard L. Evans or Lloyd Newell, and then taking those and bringing those together and then resharing those with all who will be with us.
I'll just share that my moment was very personal in the sense that my father is going to turn 96 years old in just a couple of weeks. And I was reading the story of the first broadcast when man stood on a ladder and held a microphone up, and they drug a cable over to broadcast it on radio, and realized, oh, that was the same year my father was born. I calculated that he has been alive for 4,994 broadcasts. And I raised that. I said, Dad, I just figured this out. And he said, you know, I remember very early in my life music and spoken word. Now, when I combine the fact that he lived in this very small town in Nevada, and he has told me the story of seeing electricity come to his town for the first time, and seeing the light glow in the street for the first time. And very shortly after that, his family bought a radio, and that was his first introduction. And what he remembers is music and the spoken word. It struck me then, first of all, that it's been so meaningful to so many people over so long that there is a sense of the miraculous here, and that it's a big responsibility for all of us to note it, learn from it, and perpetuate it.
All right, yeah. Lester, who've got? Daily Universe, BYU Daily Universe.
Hi, Rachel from Daily Universe, and this is Christian. Like we've said this morning, this has been such a signature program for so long, and it's done so much good. But what has it done for you personally to be a part of this program that's doing the miraculous?
I think I've responded to that well, or at least best I can. Go ahead.
Sure. Well, it's changed me. I had watched the program with some regularity prior to this calling that I've now held. I had brought guests here to witness it and experience it, and always walked away with feelings inside, again, of hope and peace and what have you. But now, being here, which I might add has been for 1% of the 5,000 broadcasts, I've only experienced 1% of the magnificence of music and the spoken word. But I actually feel that I view the world differently. From hearing with regularity the music and feeling its power in my soul, from taking time each week to consider the challenges and the needs of the world, and then to write a short and simple message that reflects that might hopefully be of benefit to another, has caused me to take more time to set aside to be still. It's caused me to choose to spend my time differently. And by taking more time to be still, it has allowed for me to view the world through a different lens. And because of that, I'm forever grateful.
I think that an important element of all of this that we need to acknowledge is the thousands of volunteers who have made this program happen over these many broadcasts and many years. And I have come to just a great appreciation and admiration for the great sacrifice that those who make music and the spoken word happen every week. Well, they make great sacrifices, not only that, but their families do as well. A typical Sunday morning is a choir or orchestra member will leave very early. The call time for the choir is 7:25 a.m., which, if you may know anything about a singer, that's really early in the morning for a singer. Orchestra is here at 7:45 a.m., and then we put this all together between 7:25 and then going on the air at 9:30. And people, many of our choir and orchestra members drive long distances to be here for every event that we do. And I just have a great admiration for the sacrifice and the commitment. It's a huge commitment. Not only just being here, but work that has to be done at home. For instance, We now perform almost everything by memory. And so that takes some time at home to memorize music. And when you couple that with, we perform between 350, 400 pieces a year, that's a lot of music. That's a lot of memorization. And so if I'm talking about myself and being changed, it is that I just have a greater appreciation and admiration for those who make this happen.
Thank you. All right, Eric from KSL.
Hi there. This is probably for Mac or maybe Derek. How did you decide on the content for this 5,000th show?
I went back and reviewed the repertoire that was sung for the very first broadcast, and in reviewing that, I discovered that one of the hymns that was sung in that first broadcast was "The Morning Break, the Shadows Flee." So we are opening the broadcast with that hymn. Now, as I tell the choir and the orchestra, the arrangement we're doing is not the same arrangement from 1929, but the hymn is nonetheless the same. And then the rest of the music is also, I think, reinforcing our celebration. We're singing, when in our music God is glorified. There's not a better message than that. And we're ending with, again, the hymn High on the Mountaintop, which I undoubtedly was sung not maybe on the first broadcast, but maybe the second or third broadcast, because that's a beloved hymn that has been around for many, many years. So I wanted to have at least one tie-in to that first broadcast, and I believe that Derek is going to be mentioning that. Also, it was actually Derek's idea that about 20 years ago, the family of Anthony Lund, who was the conductor of the choir at that time and the conductor of the first broadcast, the family had donated to the choir his baton, his conducting baton. And I had almost forgotten about it. But Derek asked the possibility of maybe using that baton. And I had seen the baton, and in that era, a conductor's baton was much longer than what we use now. So it's almost, I almost equate it with a pointer that you use, you point to the blackboard or something. So I said, well, I better try it out, see if I can make it work. And so it's now housed in the church history museum. So they brought it over to the office. I tried it out, and in fact, I am going to use that baton for the final piece on the broadcast Sunday. So another tie-in. And the family assures us that that was the baton that he used for that first broadcast.
Okay, I'm going to ask one last question, and then we're going to break up, because that's why you're all here. But for all of our viewers, there's a few logistical things that I think are important to know. The pre and post show will not be broadcast. The regular music and the spoken word will be broadcast. So I would like Derek to give us a few hints for people why they should come down in person and join us for those extra pre-show and post-show celebrations at the conference center, because everyone is welcome. Derek.
Thank you. The pre-show and post-show really are mini concerts that are happening. And so in the pre-show, for example, we are not only recognizing amazing people that will be here with us, but we're actually telling the stories of orchestra and choir members and who they are and their incredible impact and sacrifice that they make. So we're telling their stories in the pre-show. In addition to that, we have stories from viewers and listeners, again, around the globe that will be shared as part of that pre-show. In our post-show, likewise, we continue telling stories that have been submitted to us, and are using bits and pieces and sound clips, including the very first ever recorded broadcast of Music in the Spoken Word, which occurred in 1933. We'll be playing that here in the house and telling a story related to that broadcast and that song that was performed. And so there is a treasure trove of history that is being unrolled as we remember where we've been, as we recognize where we are, and as we now focus and look to where we hope to go. And all of that we hope will come together from the pre-show to the broadcast to the post-show. And we expect for that to take about 90 minutes in total between all three of those.
All right. I've been just given one last question. This probably falls for President Levitt. How important have all of the radio and TV stations around the world helped to achieve this milestone?
This has been a partnership between the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square and media outlets around the world. There are some 2,000 radio transponders and television stations that carry it. Now we also have the benefit of YouTube and other social media and internet-based capacities to carry it. But it has been that partnership that has produced the vast good that this program provides on a weekly basis. And we could not do it without them, and we could not be more grateful.
Okay. We are going to break up. I'm going to put Mac up here on the stage. I'm going to put Derek over there.